twinkle, little star.
Welcome to my presentation on music therapy intervention. I'm going to start off by giving you the definition of music therapy intervention. Music therapy intervention is the clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individualized goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved musical therapy program. This definition is from the American Music Therapy Association website, 2000.
How I wonder what you
Before we begin reviewing intervention articles about music therapy intervention, it is important to note that music therapy is an emerging evidence-based practice. Music therapy is recognized as a related service under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA. Although the amount of studies meeting criteria for full evidence-based practice recognition are somewhat limited, those that do meet this criteria prove many research-based statements supporting the positive effects of this type of intervention. This can be seen by looking at the effects of music on the brain. Recent research on the effects of music on cognition, emotional processing, anxiety, and stress have shed a light on how music therapy can enhance the health of a specific individual. It has been seen that there is no single center for musical processing in the brain, and therefore, listening to music engages multiple areas of the brain simultaneously. Preliminary research has shown that music can have an effect in activating the mirror neuron system that increases social communication in individuals with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. This information is from Yinger and Gooding, 2014.
up above the world.
Simpson et al. 2013 investigated the effect of sung and spoken conditions on the participation, engagement, and learning during an intervention with children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. This study looked into the potential of music being more engaging for children and being able to learn and label characters in a story better through a song than spoken word. The children in this study were randomly assigned to one of two groups. Group 1 had the sung intervention condition first, and then the spoken intervention condition. Group 2 received the opposite. The second intervention condition happened 1 month after the end of the first intervention condition for both groups. The lyrics were performed as a play song. The sung recordings were 10 seconds long. The sung and spoken intervention conditions had the same procedure. Each intervention consisted of 15 teaching sessions. 4 characters in the set were randomly named 3 times. The audio file was then accompanied by a picture presentation. The correct picture and 2 selected pictures from the set were shown. The wrong response, or no response at all after 10 seconds, resulted in error correction using a least to most prompt hierarchy. Results of this study showed that there was a positive correlation between engagement and learning. Overall, this study found that using musical elements in an intervention to teach language skills to children with autism spectrum disorder enhanced engagement. This supports other research findings that show that the use of music may provide a more engaging context for children with autism. It was also observed that the overall behavior and demeanor of the children was better in the sung portions than the spoken. It did not matter when they had the sung or spoken first or second, overall the increase was shown. This study extends previous research and shows that musical elements may contribute to promoting engaging intervention and addressing a limitation identified in previous research and interventions that was not shown.
So high, like a
The next article I would like to discuss is by Thompson et al. 2013, which investigated the effect of family-centered music therapy to promote social engagement. The goal of this was to foster the child's motivation to interact and relate to others rather than being dependent on extrinsic reward. The research behind this was that music allows children to interact non-verbally compared with play interactions and be able to alternate between the roles of initiator and imitation. The way this was carried out was a parallel randomized control group with pre- and post-intervention data. Children in the treatment group received 16 weeks of family-centered music therapy sessions in their own home, with sessions scheduled once per week. The control group was monitored to ensure that they did not have any family-centered music therapy. Baseline was then created for both groups through surveys, observations, and other tasks about the child's interactions, and then reassessed post 16 weeks to see if the children were better prepared for interpersonal engagement. Overall, this did not change the child's social engagement, but rather changed the parent's perception of the child in a positive way. Parents reported that they felt like they connected with their children more, and that active involvement in music making may provide opportunities to develop important interaction skills. Motivating social environment through family centered music therapy can make a positive difference to the perceived social engagement skills of young children with severe autism spectrum disorder. Improving the quality of their social interactions in the home and community and the strength of the parent child relationship is extremely important. Although family centered music therapy did not show the results of promoting social engagement, it changed the way the parents overall thought about their children, which was a benefit because many of them reported that they had a lot of trouble being able to understand and relate to them. This strengthens the parent child relationship and proves that music therapy is a great practice to try. Schwartzberg and Silverman 2013 studied to see if music based social stories would lead to improved comprehension and generalization of targeted skills. All participants in this study were attendees at 3 separate week-long summer camps for children with autism spectrum disorder. Comprehension checks, or CCs, were used to determine the participants' level of comprehension for each social story. The comprehension checks were a series of 5 closed yes or no questions on a half piece of paper. The participants completed the comprehension checks before camp and post camp, a week after camp, with legal guardians. The participants also completed the comprehension checks each time the social stories were administered at camp. Social stories were all original compositions and written in major keys. During the experimental conditions, these were played on an acoustic guitar. There was a 6-group randomized design to investigate this research question. Utilize base social stories while during control conditions there was no music included. The randomized participants were broken into groups, experimental and control, for each of the 3 categories. The 3 categories were social reciprocity, social participation, and detrimental social behaviors. Each day, for 15 minutes, music therapy was given to all campers during the intervention, the social story was either sung or spoken to. The comprehension checks were completed after, with minimal verbal and nonverbal prompting, depending on the level of the child. This study showed that with music in social stories, the children were better able to store and record information. One of the outcomes of this is that they were able to interact better, showed a wide range of results, but overall the comprehension checks increased as the summer went on. One reason this is thought a potentially outside factor is that camp is an extremely social environment, so it could have helped them to work on this. However, the showing of a song helped all the children that were in the groups with the experimental condition.
Do you want to play the piano? Yes. Play the piano with me. Yes. Want to play some music? Yes, yes. Play some music with me. Should we play some more piano? Slip that handle. Louder. No banana. Little bit louder. No banana. Little bit louder. over the drum, over the trumpets. I will try. Right over the drum. Where is the shaker? Where could it be? Where is the shaker? Please tell me. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Say it again. Should we do? Yeah, go. That's the music. Sunshine music.
But the clientele you work with is special needs, and those parents often have a completely different set of goals for their children than maybe other parents. They also have perhaps a different timeline. I know with Zoe, we don't know how long she'll be here, so we prioritize what we want for her life probably a little differently than a parent who expects their child to outlive them. And so with Zoe, I want her moments here where she can feel honored and validated and heard and understood, and where her spirit is free to be enlivened and be engaged in her way. And that's part of what music therapy does best for Zoe.
That's beautiful.
When comparing the articles of Simpson et al. And Schwartzberg and Silverman, they both showed that songs, in addition to therapy, helped her better recall of information and ability to stay on task. Simpson's whose results showed that the children were more engaged, which could have led to the results that were seen in Schwartzberg and Silverman, where they learned more from the social stories that included music instead of spoken. This shows that environment did not play a factor in benefiting from music therapy. Simpson was looking to see the skills of teaching language through music, and Schwartzberg was looking for the ability to remember and recall. Both of these together prove that music therapy improves the life of children with autism because they are able to stay on task, engage better with peers, and able to retain the information overall better. The research in the article by Thompson et al. Ended up having the results of being more family-centered. They did not have concrete evidence that music therapy helped the lives of the child, but the parents reported they felt more connected and had a better, deeper relationship with their children. This compared to the other two articles, Simpson et al. And Schwartzberg and Silverman, focused more on the child side and how the results had showed that the children were learning to engage, retain information, and pay better attention through music therapy. All three of these articles show positive benefits of music therapy, both on the child and the family life in general. In conclusion, music therapy still has a long way to go, but these three articles show the positive effects that can come out of music therapy on the lives of both children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and their families. To learn more information about music therapy, I recommend visiting the American Music Therapy Association website, www.musictherapy.org. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned a lot about music therapy.
Diamond in the sky, twinkle, twinkle, little star.